will come from China. The country is, and that's as far as I've got at the moment. But it might very well be.
Anything up from that point.
I mean, it's an odd headline. It's a double negative. Labour to block, bid to ban. So it's.
This is what gets you into. Forget the slavery. It's just the bad grammar.
I'm just trying to work out what is the mechanism that somebody has tried to put in place. Who is making this bid to ban? We don't know that. But if Labour allow slave-built solar panels onto schools and hospitals. That will open up some interesting and hopefully productive conversations in the PCSE or whatever it's called, the social conditioning system.
Oh, what? Yeah, yeah. They can sort of teach the stuff in the school.
Once they've stopped talking about adolescence,
this is the next step. Fair enough.
I don't know.
There's a story I know that you wanted to cover at the top, Simon. You specifically said to me, Josh, please cover the Gwyneth Paltrow war with Meghan.
Well, yes. I mean, obviously, the audience will pick up on your irony there. I have no idea about this, although I did see a little video this afternoon in which Gwyneth Paltrow appeared to be sans makeup, sans any kind of TV-ready, hair frizzed, preparing her breakfast, which is presumably a rebuff to Meghan's perfect lifestyle, which has been the sort of theme of her latest
This is how
TV
pathetic
show.
I am. I actually read into the deep dive into it, and there's, like, loads of little sort of Easter eggs where it's just very specific ripping the mickey out of her.
Is it? It's ripping the mickey? That's a very...
I don't know really what I can say.
Just before Kerry's birthday.
Yes or no? Are they having an argument about breakfast, or did they have an argument during breakfast?
I think there must be some bad blood.
We obviously know a lot about this story, don't we?
Meghan
really
might have dissed Coldplay.
It's weird, though, isn't it? Because Gwyneth Paltrow is hardly in a position to critique Meghan's lifestyle or her sort of pernickety, high value, high status.
That smell like body parts.
Gwyneth is the steamer, isn't she?
Maybe that's it. Maybe she thinks that she's sort of... maybe she thinks she's stealing it. Well, look, let's go on now to the Daily Telegraph, Simon. What's the front page dealing with there?
Major front page there is, I think, a friend of the show, isn't he? Charlie Mullins, who is usually referred to as the Rod Stewart lookalike. A very wealthy man who is a multimillionaire backer of reform, who is in danger of being stripped of his OBE over a social media attack on Sadiq Khan. This actually took place a couple of years ago. It was in 2023 when he did make some disobliging remarks, quite strong language, and I think was even suspended from the platform. But I don't know why it's flared up again now. But that, anyway, has managed to take off the entire top half of the front page of the Telegraph, which is extraordinary. The smaller story, but I would have thought rather more significant, is the leaked White House texts.
That's big.
From, this is extraordinary. There's a group of very senior White House officials, including J.D. Vance and Pete Hegseth, the new head of Defence Secretary, they created a little sort of online chat room to war game some responses to Yemen and the Houthis, and they accidentally, I mean, they have to believe it's accidental because it's catastrophic, they've accidentally included the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, which is a very well-known American liberal left-leaning online, I think it's a monthly, but anyway, a sort of long read.
Slip.
Yeah, quite extraordinary. And so the things that have come out, which are most newsworthy, are the extent to which they resent bailing out the American... Which I mean, you do have to wonder, this is so on message for the general drift of the White House. I do almost wonder whether they did it deliberately.
But they're so hostile to Europe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like...
No, they're hostile to bailing us out. They regard us as freeloaders on the defence front. And, of course, we're not, we have not been oblivious to that since they hit the ground. That's been the number one message.
He says, I just hate bailing Europe out again. And then he comes in, I fully share your loathing of European freeloading.
Yeah.
This is not good.
Well, OK. So it's on Signal, which is one of the better end-to-end encryption apps, which...
But it doesn't work well if you invite...
It doesn't work if you do that. And this is a very modern-day fear, isn't it, including the wrong people in messages. In the past, it was unusual to do that when you were sending out letters. You'd have to make a bigger effort to do so. On the other hand, though, they're not really saying anything they haven't been saying publicly anyway. And one of the advantages of being publicly outspoken is you don't get caught out when you say the same things in private.
That's true. If they've been saying, frankly, I love those Europeans.
Yeah, totally, which they haven't
It's
at
fun
all.
to watch them scurrying around trying to whoop up a defence budget, but they don't need to worry. We'll always have
they have, when they're talking about the Houthis and they're talking about the Red Sea, they do have some point, is that we really do not have the facility to take on the Houthis at the moment, and
it's
and
very
they
much
do.
like
So
a couple of parents talking that have overheard their children planning to sort of how we're going to fund the party. We all know who's going to pay for it.
But it's not that. I mean, it's not like Trump was on the, in the discussion and talking about grabbing women by parts or anything that's come out. So it's kind of on board for them. I do like his reaction to it. This is so Trump. His reaction is, I'm not a big fan of The Atlantic. To me, it's a magazine that's going out of business. I know nothing about it.
You're telling me this for the first time.
He totally disparages the
But if you just think that what happened with Hillary Clinton, it's just, I don't want to have years of security.
What, her emails?
Well, just this is the parallel to that. She used a non-governmental account. Everybody, the Republicans went, what's she doing? What information is getting out there? And of course, they've just done exactly the same thing, arguably even worse.
Arguably
so
worse.
now we're going to have years
by
of court
mistake,
cases.
whereas she absolutely did it deliberately and refused to change.
Glad you've let that one go, Simon.
I think there is a significant difference, but it is arguably more worrying that it's a mistake. I mean, if it is a mistake, but I just don't know whether mistakes like that do happen.
Well, fair enough. Look, final thing from the Telegraph is it's Sarah Jessica Parker. She's 60 years old, so you share a birthday and you're the same age as her.
I'm a day younger than her, actually.
Are you really? OK.
Yeah, it's from 12 o'clock.
Are you going to be 60?
I'll be 59 tonight.
Oh, wow. OK, very good. All right, well, look,
so you're right.
We've got
way younger.
We've got lots more front pages coming up through the show, but let's have a little look at some stories that are actually in the papers. This one is from the Mail, and it's got America taking aggressive steps to ensure that James Corden doesn't go back there.
Where are we? The Mail?
Story 5, mate.
Yes, of course we are.
I only went through the routine about 20 times before the show.
I'm old tomorrow, so you've got to make some allowances.
59.
Yes.
Trump's US immigration.
Yeah, I know. Believe me, I am in such full control here.
Well, you know what?
Do you know
Simon, you can tell the story.
OK. Simon,
you tell the story, mate. You know what? I'm going to tell the story. Okay. Basically, I'm going to read the headline here.
Trump's US immigration crackdown hits British tourists as border guards aggressively question holidaymakers.
I was going to say that.
Have you got it?
Yeah,
Over to you. No, you can go with it.
You started.
All right. So the point is that tourists, harmless tourists, not intending to overstay their visa, let alone get jobs cleaning pools, are planning trips to the US. They're being warned of increasingly tough questioning at border control that could see them barred from entry or even detained amid Donald Trump's immigration crackdown. It's been many years since I tried to gain access to the US, but I remember that they were always pretty stern. Most comedians have some sort of anecdote or other about trying to get in and trying to crack a joke and being told, oh, you're a comedian, are you? Yeah. And so I don't know whether this is... It sounds like it could have been cooked up.
Well, it's a bunch of examples here, but there's, most worryingly, there's people from Germany, people from France that have been detained for weeks on end, Canadians. These are normally allies
Why is that
of America.
worrying?
Well, I was going to...
You really are not much of a comedian. That's absolute gold. French and
not
Germans
if you're French
being held.
and not English people going through the borders.
There's a British artist called Becky Burke, 28, was handcuffed and taken to a detention cell in Tacoma, Washington, which sounds like an installation, doesn't it, somehow?
Yes, it does.
I just got a feeling she's planned that.
Also, I think they're trying to play this as this is about British tourists, but as you say, this is general everywhere, all different. And the French space researcher, we don't really know enough here, because they're claiming he was considered to have some possible connection with terrorism, and Homeland Security is saying that he had confidential information on his electronic device. So we're hearing odd
sorry,
bits
I just want to say
here.
he's saying that they accessed his messages and there were lots of anti-Trump messages.
Yes.
So I just want to point out that that's his story. Of course, the other story may be true as well. I'd just like to say, if I'm going to America, I would like you Americans to please watch my later headliners clips from the last year as opposed to the 2022 anti-Trump material.
Are you planning on going to America?
Well, not now.
All right.
And I just think also...
Well, I might, so I'd just like to say that Trump is a lovely and beautiful human being, and what a wonderful administration it really is.
Yeah.
It's a great and glorious tradition, though, isn't it? Like teasing border guards in America. Do you remember? There's the usual one: is do you intend to bring down the U.S. government or something? Is on the form, and people put sole purpose of visit and so on.
Also, are you a terrorist? Is always
Don't got me.
We liars always.
Well, that's
fall for
so that
one.
they can sue you if you are, as well as lock you up for having actually exploded something.
Yeah.
But
I generally don't know, though, whether this is a few examples or whether it's a significant trend. Is it criticism of the Trump administration, in which case it's shocking and anti-free speech, or is it clamping down on immigration, which he's doing generally, which a lot of Americans will be for right now?
I think that they should combine, maybe family holidays should try and get through the border, through Mexican border, like take your family and then you sort of team up with a drug cartel, maybe you're a drug mule, and it just makes it a bit more exciting.
Really
if you go on a
plan,
family holiday and they keep your kids in a cage on the border for the first 2 weeks, there would be upsides to that. I'm saying.
People will pay for that. OK, let's go on to the next story, the Telegraph. So this is a new definition of Islamophobia, where basically everything's Islamophobic about everybody.
The title is, or the headline, non-Muslims could be victims of Islamophobia under Angela Rayner's new term. So Sikhs, Hindus and Buddhists can now be victims under definition mooted by Deputy Prime Minister, who's desperately trying to get back the Islamic vote in Ashton-under-Lyne, and that could be a little bit to do with it. There's the edge of this, that this could be a form of blasphemy laws and so on, which blasphemy really sounds like something that belongs in another century that we worked hard to get rid of and will be coming back. I'll tell you my main thought on this is that there is a conflation. We saw it after 7/7 in this country, where Hindus and so on, if they had a backpack, were treated like they could be. They had the same oppression, say, as Muslims were getting. But the trouble with that conflation is, I wonder whether this law is doing exactly the same conflation, because it's not about protecting Hindus, Sikhs or Buddhists from any racism they get for their identity. It's about protecting them from being mistaken as Muslims.
Yeah, it's a tricky one,
doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean...
What does that mean?
Well, there have been famous incidents. I remember after the Manchester bombing, the Ariana Grande bombing, there was a famous footage of a Sikh in a turban who was helping out and coming to the aid, and I think possibly driving people around or something. And everyone went, "Oh, look, good, see, the Muslims are not all bad, you know, they don't all explode. This one's good." And then other Sikhs were going, "He is a Sikh," you know. And sure, if you want to find good Muslims, I'm sure there are some, but they get more infuriated. So in a way, Is it Islamophobia? I mean, I don't know. I've been a victim of homophobia on more than one occasion. When I was growing up. Yeah, and the fact that I'm not gay didn't make it any less offensive.
That protesting is a bit much there.
Really,
not sure what to read from that.
Every show has got to bring up constantly Simon Evans. "Oh, I'm not gay. I'm not gay." It's like, mate.
I wonder whether more, though, we should be, if that's the case, we should be educating kids on the difference between Hindus, Buddhists, and so on.
That's the failing. But then, of course, what about after post 7/7, where someone from South America was shot? Seemingly, that might have been an Islamophobic attack. Obviously,
maybe everything's Islamophobic.
That's what I'm thinking. But also, maybe this is what I'm thinking. Whatever it is they decide that would look more Muslim, whatever their criteria being, maybe Jews, we should dress like that a bit more, and then maybe finally people would take racism against Jews seriously.
Maybe.
There is a look Jews can use if they want to attract racism. You know that, right?
No.
You don't. You have not seen the ethnic Jewish look. The Stamford Hill.
I see. Yes. Yeah.
There is a look available. That's all I'm saying. If you want to attract more hostility,
racism.
Yeah.
I think you're angry.
But I'm talking about racism that people actually care about, or the government might care about. Anyway, that is it for part one. We have got loads more front pages to come and loads more stories. See you in 2 minutes. It's going to be a great show.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is the nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Martin Daubney, weekdays from 3 p.m.
It's all kicking off in the world of bowling because an historic bowls club could be forced to close after a staggering 2,000% parking fee hike. Members, many of them of course elderly, say they can't afford the jump from 40 quid to an astonishing £840. Now, for some, the club is their social lifeline, but the council insists that the change is necessary to ease financial pressures. Well, of course they would. Well, joining me now to discuss this is the club captain of Eastbourne Parade Bowls Club, Pete Hensman. Pete, welcome to the show. This is an astonishing hike in the car parking costs. It must have simply bowled you all over.
Yeah, to use a phrase, you're quite right. We sort of staggered and worried because of the possibility of closing us.
What's the reaction been within the club to what seems like an eye-watering increase?
Well, as you said, several of our members are saying, we just can't join, we can't afford it. The bus service around here is not particularly good, and they can't carry their bowls or get to the club.
And you've been around since 1897. You've got 70 members, got some wonderful pictures there on screens of people just getting together. Absolutely wonderful thing to do. Healthy physically, healthy mentally, and of course a lot of people lose more friends as they get on. Have the council been remotely forthcoming in seeing the light?
I think they've got a bit of a panic on. We got a message inviting us to join the chairman of the council tomorrow to discuss the matter. I hope we're going to get a compromise.
GB News.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/your-say. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Welcome back to Headliners. A couple more front pages now. Kerry, we're going to start with the Express.
After Russia's latest brutal raid, our correspondent in Kiev tells the US president, and then it's in very big writing, Mr. Trump, wake up. Ukrainians are the victims. It's odd here because the actual story seems to be more about the fact the correspondent of the Daily Express has said it, like that's going to make a... You're like, yeah. Trump was like, oh, well, I didn't realise that.
Don't you know who I am?
Come round to it, yeah, exactly. It turns out correspondent of the Daily Express has spoken out, finally. That's what we've all been waiting for. It's been odd to watch, actually, how much... I mean, it was always around more in America than in Europe, the idea that that it was that Putin's the victim and that Russia's the victim and so on. But with Trump taking this stance, it's really turned fast, hasn't it? It's you're now seeing it throughout social media. If you even bring this up, people are constantly quoting 2014 and the Russian separatists attack from Ukraine as if they're making it like a minimalised war that happens between Ukraine with Russia now coming in as the hero protecting them. So this needs to be said. I'm not sure it'll make any difference. Do you think?
What do you think?
Trump will listen, Simon?
Yeah, no, I don't think it'll make a great deal of difference. No, I don't expect they believe it will make any difference. But there has been continued outrages. You know, obviously it's a stain on Trump's foreign policy at this stage. We're all, I think, a lot of people praying that he has got some kind of 4D chess strategy and that is
even 1D chess would be good.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
it's not very encouraging.
It could be that he's going to keep pushing with Putin until it goes nowhere, and then suddenly bring out some big guns. We don't know. Doesn't feel that way at the moment.
Yeah,
but it's possible.
mean, the thing is here that in Israel they are targeting Hamas terrorists. And of course, unfortunately there are civilians because Hamas hide behind this. But in this case, it should be made very clear Putin is targeting civilians.
Yeah.
Like there's no trying to get through the civilians to get to soldiers or anything. He's just targeting civilians.
Well, and that, schools, hospitals, and the same is going on in just about every war around the world, to be honest, and all around the Middle East. It's just we have this thing with Gaza where schools and hospitals should be exempt for some reason, but even if they're used as military bases. but the opposite's happening everywhere else. The only thing is, I don't know whether there is a massive geopolitical shift. Some people are talking about this now, an effort to bring in Russia and possibly over in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, who are worried about running out of oil and want to tie up with Israel, because Israel is now looking stronger and stronger. And then what you can see is an isolation of China and Iran, and the Abraham Accords becoming more solid and so on. So it could be a massive world shift that's going on right now.
We will see. Right,
Ukraine
Simon,
will pay the price, so.
Let's go to The Guardian.
Yes, more cheerful news. Domestic abusers are driving more victims to suicide, warn the police. It seems that domestic abusers drive more victims to suicide than they actually kill.
This isn't good news at all. Why did you say this is...
Well, it was, again, irony.
I was getting excited then.
Sorry?
I thought there was a big lift in the show, and then it was that.
Afraid not. The concession came as a report revealed that deaths by suicide among victims of domestic abuse had surpassed the number of people actually killed by an intimate partner for a second year in a row. And I suppose the question would have to be, at what point can you actually charge them with it? But I suppose it's difficult to prove. Unfortunately for him, pictured immediately below that is Gérard Depardieu, the eminent French actor, now 76, who has appeared in court in Paris yesterday, charged with assaulting 2 women during a film shoot. So, no respecter of class or profession, obviously, this incident. But, yeah, that's their headline story. And, as I say, it's pretty grim.
You haven't mentioned the top corner with the chins, the rise of beard transplant.
No, that's true. I thought I'd bring that in.
I would have started with that. I would have started with that and then gone to the suicide, domestic violence.
We were going with it.
We're all looking to see if we can see the joint.
But who has a beard transplant?
People who...
Do you mean like a swap beard?
Trans men.
Yeah?
Maybe.
Very possibly is. There's a story coming up about scrofula or something, isn't there, that you can catch from the wrong sort of beards. But, I don't want to tip it off too much.
The rest of the show now.
Yeah. And Mars rover finds traces of possible ancient life.
This is a big deal.
That's a bigger story.
Aliens are going to come and destroy us.
This is the distraction we need right now, isn't it? They did find that there's evidence of oceans under the sand in Mars as well, so possibly with a bit of terraforming, like we need more terror or anything.
I was disappointed not to be on the panel the night that presumably we covered in depth the 2-kilometre pylons, the columns that are underneath the Great Pyramids. You've seen about this?
Absolutely.
Yes, on the pictures,
and that seems to have come and gone, and I'm astonished. That's the biggest news of the century.
It could be, yes, absolutely huge, but I guess we're waiting to see the further evidence of it. And but what's it? I don't know if you saw some of the footage. First of all, the images were amazing. We're incredibly...
Of Mars,
of
Mars, the pyramids. Where are we now?
But of Mars, they're the same thing, mate. But what was interesting was that they'd sort of pixelated the actual rover, because they wanted to hide the technology. So it was kind of like...
Because it's sexy.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think. It could be some sort of robot porn.
Yeah.
That might be. There is another story.
Curiosity does sound a little bit, doesn't it?
There is one more tiny story.
Reeves
in a $2 billion pledge on social housing. So this is Rachel Reeves, and she's basically said she's going to give £2 billion for social housing. We've obviously got incredibly low stock of social housing, so whether this is going to be the bribing the left of the party that's necessary to get through the cuts will...
To hide if they're going to do welfare cuts, they need to do something else to compensate and take the attention away, I guess. But I'm not sure. The idea is, once again, it's like the extra runway to promote growth, but it's a very slow thing, and I'm not sure. I feel like the government's current attitude with growth is a bit like some loser in a casino who really believes if he keeps putting the money down, it's going to eventually something's going to work. But
well, as people have said also, I mean, it's all very well if you're going to build 1.5 million homes. If you've imported 1.5 million builders in order to build them, you're no better off, are you, at the end of it?
Yeah.
But also, this $2 billion is... This is not a new thing, of course, not specifically a Labour thing, but it's always double accounting, isn't it? If not triple accounting. This has already been announced with some fanfare that they're going to do this, so she's sort of re-announcing a certain amount of funding for a project that was already announced some time ago.
That is the modern government just re-announcing the old stuff. Right, Simon, the Telegraph. If it isn't bad enough, our tax money being spent on ice cream vans, I dread to think what the interest rate is.
Is this on the credit cards? Yes. I have this from the iNews rather than the Telegraph. Actually, to be fair, it's them reporting a Telegraph investigation, so we're both right, so that's all right. The headline reads, £1,700 for Project Charisma and £500 on ice cream. The secrets of government credit credit cards. Those seem to me, on the face of it, fairly trivial amounts, I have to say. Project Charisma, for what it's worth, is a company that teaches public speaking training. It says if you're struggling to communicate your value, then Project Charisma can help you. I think that's probably money reasonably well spent in the civil service, to be honest.
Except they haven't sold themselves very well. If that's their object, then
Possibly
they should be able to
They need
convince
to use the skills to justify the spending.
It doesn't read to me like the sort of lavish absurdity that you expect in a scandal of...
Simon, sorry, I'm going to have to disagree with you. They went to ZZ.
Yeah.
They've been to Pizza Express.
No, I'm talking about Project Charisma.
OK, well, I'm talking about Prezzo. I mean, they've been to all the classic Italian restaurants here.
All of this, we don't have enough information. We're told they spent £600 on a curry, but we're not told how many people were eating.
No, that's
right. If it was 200 people at £30 each, then fine. If it was one person, then...
£43,000 on work-from-home equipment. Well, I think my wife has spent that in the last 4 years. I don't think these are huge. I think they're snapping at thin air here a little bit.
Yeah, ice cream truck.
An ice cream. What I feel sorry for is the civil servant who hasn't been doing this. He's been really good. He just had one 99 flake and a small one without the flake. And everyone else has been like, oh, I'm buying an ice cream van.
Yeah, £2,000 on an adventure park in Belgium.
That one I can get.
Yeah,
£858 at Myers-Briggs, a company which does an in-depth personality test on you.
Yeah, and you are spending everybody's money. But this is serious. You know, a couple of years ago, it was 155 million. Now it's nearly 700 million, just in 3 or 4 years. This just shows people they take the mickey and they ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with perks, isn't it? They catch up with you eventually.
Yeah,
fine.
Someone always ruins it.
Yes. Well, the groundwork for Series 2 of
I remember
Adolescence...
when there used to be a perk at GBNews. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
we used to have a perk.
We did.
We had a perk. The perk.
The perk. The Thursday perk.
What was the...
well, I can't remember what it was. Halfway through 2023, that was ironed out.
Very quickly, we're going to do the groundwork for Series 2 of Adolescence in the iNews, Kerry.
Less than half of boys from deprived backgrounds ready for school age. That's at age, sorry, ready for school, aged 5. I missed out that bit. And this is about the metric that assesses children's development in areas such as communication, motor skills, social and emotional development, and maths and literacy, which sounds like quite a lot for age 5. So this is really about the toddler gender age achievement gap, I guess.
Motor skills is not an actual driving licence, presumably.
Well, yeah, I don't know how much maths and literacy they really have at that point, but I was offended the other day when I remembered that a teacher, when I was in primary school, called me a late developer, and I've just realised what that means, and it's not good.
The worst thing is I was in remedial class and I thought it was a good thing.
Did you? Basically, what we're being told is that boy toddlers need to pull their socks up, apparently. They're just not meeting the same.
They can't even get their socks on.
I know, yeah, exactly. They're just falling over. I'm not sure what factors affect all this. Apparently, they mentioned school meals is one of them. But,
yeah, so being deprived.
But it might be boys are more realistic about the job prospects and it's going. It's just not worth it, really.
They've just given up.
Things aren't great.
I think this is a really serious story, Simon, because you've got a massive...
I'm sorry for making fun of it.
Well, I'm just saying we've got a massive discrepancy here of people from deprived backgrounds being much less suited when they're going into school. And, of course, that lag continues for the rest of their life if it isn't dealt with.
Well, that's interesting. You're dividing it by the class thing, whereas they're presenting it as being a discrepancy between boys and girls. They say just 43% of boys from deprived backgrounds are deemed ready in comparison to 60% of girls. So I don't know whether...
Well, girls are a bit smarter at that age.
Yeah, I think they are. But it's weird, isn't it? They get the first 15 years and then it all just tapers away. But... I don't know. It's quite difficult to unpick all the details, and you need to get quite close-grained with this. It says those falling below a cliff edge are the children eligible for free school meals, travellers of Irish heritage, and children with special educational needs and disabilities, which is like fairly obvious, isn't it, that sort of thing is going to happen? And I don't know what quite... What are they expecting to sort of achieve by pointing this out?
As we would have predicted.
Well, I'll tell you what they're going to achieve is...
study at all.
The Prime Minister said that they're going to be delivering accessible, integrated maternity, baby and family support services from the first 1,000 days of life. That was called Sure Start, and it was cancelled. And I'm still angry about that. Right, more front pages and loads of cracking stories still to come. This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs. That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Kerr weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
It's Patrick Christie's Tonight, and here we do things differently.
It's explaining the absolute madness of this, doesn't it?
It's explosive.
I mean, this is very good.
It's lively.
850. Your government sat there, Sean, and it did nothing.
It's controversial.
And the Middle East has been in turmoil since before I was born.
It's everything you need to kickstart your evening.
Everyone's had their Weetabix tonight. I love to see it.
That's Patrick Christie's Tonight, weeknights from 9 p.m. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. So we are going to kick off with some more front pages. We have the iNews.
Right, well, I'll start in the top right corner with the health story here, which is what happens when you add them to every meal. They're talking about beans. And then they give you the answer in brackets. It says, it's all good. So basically, the news of the day is it's good to have beans with every meal. I don't see that working with a cereal. You know, cereal with beans, it just doesn't sound right to me. Or a peanut butter sandwich with beans. But apparently that's what you should be doing. I don't know why, but that's the answer.
Shepherd's pie is good with beans.
Shepherd's pie with beans. You can do beans in a shepherd's pie, but I still don't go with every meal. I think that's a bit of an exaggeration. And on the other side, sort of almost sort of carrying on from that, is school cuts. Phillipson denies bleeding stump strategy and plans to squeeze free school meals, which I find a bit of an odd story when we've just had a story telling us that one of the problems for younger children is not getting school meals and that therefore they seem to not achieve as much. So there you go, that continues from there. And then the main story, future of state pension triple lock questioned by Labour MPs, which is a concern for me, what with turning 59 at some point tonight.
You'll never get there, Kerry. They will tug that away year after year. No. You'll get to the age when you should have had a pension.
There'll be definitely no pensions left by the time I get there.
There'll be no sign of a pension at 65.
But yeah, this is Labour just gradually crossing off every pre-election promise that they've made, and as will continue to happen, I think.
Was it ever sustainable, this triple lock, long-term, Simon?
Well, about long term, they've sustained it for a very long time, haven't they? But of course, they are regarded as Tory voters by and large, and they can be allowed to drift. I think they're probably in some degree of danger now. I mean, everything seems to be at the moment. The entire country's falling apart. There's no money left for anything, and I'm sure pensioners are going to have to bear the brunt of it as much as anybody else is. But yeah, it was always ambitious. It is an ageing economy. It is also an ageing economy that is causing the problem of growth and productivity and all the rest of it. So. I think at some point there is probably going to be a good degree of resentment if they do manage to escape all the cuts that everybody else is up for.
Yeah, this is what I think about when I drive home across all the potholes everywhere now.
Fill those in with pensioners.
Simon, more birthday news in the Sun. We've got Eva.
Yeah, Eva Longoria looking fantastic at 50. Yeah, absolutely splendid. I
can't
wear that see outfit. Why you can't pull off a photo shoot like that for a scary. Yeah,
that was her birthday the other day, but we're still celebrating it.
But
why is that, Josh?
Just because she's a very nice person.
I knew that was the reason.
And then the main front story on The Sun is Meghan, a fast buck. So Meghan, once again, who we glanced at earlier in her clash with Gwyneth Paltrow. She has been accused of leveraging her children, essentially, to keep her celebrity brand high, which, I mean, by comparison with some of the tricks she's pulled over the last few years, does not seem to be out of character. She put up an Instagram of her with her kids hugging her closely and it all looking very idyllic and orchardy, and then it was swiftly followed by another one for a shop.
Yeah, well, this is she's now
standard fare. This is how they do it.
She's got a website. She's selling some pretty crazy stuff online now. It's all gone.
What is she selling?
Just like
steamers,
things. Generally, that sounds really crazy.
For loads of money, loads of money.
But surely, I don't really get this story. Surely everyone uses their kids in adverts now, and it's
I don't know if we can still
it?
show this the front page of the Sun there. Okay, if we put it back up, you're going to have to. We can see this much closer. But do you see where her son's hand is?
Well, yeah, but that's an innocent.
I know, of course it's innocent, but I'm just saying.
Josh.
I'm just saying, if my son was like, I'm just like, mate, just
you think that's what she's selling?
What, a child's hand?
I'm just saying, just like, give me some space.
Unless it's a little fire of bathwater or something, I think it's reasonable, to be honest.
OK, well, look, let's move on now to the Telegraph, who's obsessed with raccoon sex, Simon.
Yes, parents attack CBeebies show over gender-neutral raccoon. This is in an episode of Hey Dougie, which I must admit I'm not up to speed with at the moment. It's aimed at 5-year-olds. Don't currently have one of those, so we haven't been watching it. But there's an animal called Wren, with a W, as in the old naval designation. They introduce their siblings, and the parents are up in arms about this because it's gender neutral. I have no idea whether it was intentionally gender neutral, whether the raccoon should have had sort of obvious, genitalia or whatever. It feels fairly like.
Well, everybody else was introduced as like his siblings, her siblings, and then when it got to Red, it was like there.
So you did watch this, did you?
No, I'm just reading.
Yeah, that's just yeah.
To be fair, it's a small one, isn't it? Because the word "there" is used in that context without it necessarily being anything to do with gender ideology. But it does feel like, yes, because of the context, maybe that was the intention. Already talking squirrels hanging out with a talking raccoon is a bit of a leap of imagination, but maybe...
Saying that's not scientific.
It's a bit too far, I don't know.
That used to be a popular sideshow, actually, in the Victorian era. They were called happy families. You'd have a sort of cage in which animals that shouldn't be able to live side by side were pictured doing so. People would just stop and look at them.
Oh, really?
The lamb and the lion, or the cat and the pigeon, or whatever, yeah.
But it's also children... It's odd that children aren't easily fooled by this stuff. It was always a popular thing with clowns, is the clown would say, when I was a little girl, and the children would shout out, you were a boy. They wouldn't accept it. And that hasn't really changed. I mean, even though the clown is wearing a blouse with big buttons and bright orange wig. So you can't
I guess the point is that children's education is meant to educate and inform, and arguably, if they're deliberately messing with this kind of stuff, then we'll see. All right, well, look, let's move on to The Guardian, Simon, and there's a few clubs I wouldn't mind this happening to. from my history.
Is this the death by euthanasia?
Oh, no,
story?
it's not death by... No, sorry, this is actually going to be the Mumbai Comedy Club.
Oh, you've gone to that
Have
one.
you killed off the euthanasia story?
We can bring it back. We'll bring that one back.
Revive it, resuscitate it. Mumbai Comedy Club is ransacked after performers joke about local politician. Now, it's very hard for us to judge, obviously, Mumbai comedian. I watched a few clips of Kunal Kamra. It sounds like it's a candid camera, but for in India, but it's actually his name, Kunal Kamra. Very hard to tell how hard-hitting he is, but he was sufficiently hard-hitting that the government sent round the sort of comedy black shirts, and they've virtually demolished the entire club in response. And they have said, in wonderfully 1930s language, freedom of expression has its own limitations. You cannot insult anyone. There is no need to spare them, said Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis. We will not tolerate this, and we will teach them a lesson. So there you go. That's what you get for doing a bit of political satire in India. Yeah.
Terrifying, right? Did you do the gigs in India?
I did about 2010, yeah, but that was the Comedy Store, which was English-speaking, and they did have an Indian act on, but he did his act in English, whereas these ones are in Indian, and they are attacking Indian politicians.
There was actually a really small scene at the time with the Indian comedians, and the store gig, we would put on some local guys, and they got very, very good.
Yeah,
very quickly. Very quickly, and the scene got so good so fast that we got cancelled.
Yeah.
They stopped needing us.
It was really, really interesting. Like, you do it twice, you go back and see them a year later, and these people, and when they started, they were like quite hack.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then you go back, and then suddenly everybody was amazing.
They were properly studying comedy and getting very good at it fast. But I find it interesting, this Maharashtra's comment when he says freedom of expression has its own limitations, as you read out. You cannot insult anyone, but that's completely... What a plonker.
Well,
to get that far wrong, which I think he deserves that insult.
I think the thing is, this would never happen in the UK, partly because no comic would actually do anything that would be satire against our leaders. Now, you know...
certainly not against the Labour government.
Yeah, no one's brave enough.
But his name was Kamra, K-A-M-R-A, which would be a cryptic clue for bad karma, so maybe that's a bit of...
Have you heard of the expression?
Good, bad karma.
Very nice.
Anagram twist.
I bet he doesn't use it himself.
Do you want to hear my joke about this?
You got a joke?
No.
No, do it.
No,
do it, Josh.
No, I don't want this place to be burned down with people being angry with me. Anyway, let's move on now to, what do we got? The Times, Kerry. And alas, we shall never know if we're cousins now.
23andMe genetics testing company files for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which is probably one of the bad bankruptcies. I don't know.
It's very often that one. I don't know the others. Yeah, it seems to be the go-to.
So yes, the 23andMe they tell you your ancestry, traits, potential health predispositions. I don't know how accurate they are. I think
they're very accurate.
I think are they very accurate?
Well, they're very accurate in terms of pointing out your genetic history and how you're 99% this and 1% that.
OK, so I don't know whether this is just their company or whether generally people have lost interest in the genetic discovery thing.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's that the 15 million people who they have as customers, you do the service, it tells you what your genetic history is, Simon, and then there's no repeat business there, is there? You've already found it out. That's it.
I think that is the problem. And they did expect that there was some sort of business model where they develop a long-going relationship with people and advise them on certain health pathways that they might like to pursue, and or possibly exercise programs or indeed life insurance. So that was one of the big worries.
Have you done this because with your history?
Yeah, that was. I didn't use 23andMe. I used a company called MyHeritage, but exactly the same thing. Yes, and it was a life-changing discovery for me. It isn't for everybody. Yeah. I think there has been a little bit of bad press where a number of cases have come up where people found that their fathers were not who they thought they were for unsettling reasons, due to affairs or whatever. And I think that may have put people off.
Yes.
But I think there was an immediate upsurge. I think all the people who've been waiting for ages and had sort of real interest possibly gave a false impression of how much long-term business there is.
I think the hobbyists who are into their family trees and
well, I imagine in the current climate also there'd be a lot of white people worried about finding out that they were a slave owner or something like that.
That's a classic TV show. I think possibly, and I want to be careful here for legal reasons, but I think possibly some scandal attended 23andMe specifically about data leaks and so on as well, and I think that may be why the
big issue they're paying off. Final few front pages in a second. Also some great stories. See you in 2 minutes.
You're looking happy.
Well, the forecast looks good.
So you've sorted the travel insurance then?
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello, here's your latest winter sun forecast brought to you by the Met Office. We'll see some warm sunshine across parts of the Mediterranean over the next few days, but plenty of showers too. And certainly on Tuesday, a mixture of sunshine and showers across the Canaries, across Madeira. Fewer showers across Spain and Portugal, so some sunshine here. But notice across the central part of the Med, plenty of showers, some heavy, even thundery showers around, and brighter skies the further southeast you go across Turkey and Cyprus. Over the next few days, showers mainly in the east, brighter skies the further west you go.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Heading into tomorrow, more cloud across central and southern parts with some spots of rain. Brighter in the north, though, with some warm, sunny spells. A different story tonight, though. Cloudier across the north with outbreaks of rain spilling in as a result of these frontal systems moving through this evening and overnight. Most of the rain largely light, but we could see some heavier spells across exposed coasts and northern areas. Eventually, this cloud and rain sinking southeastwards, moving into northern parts of Wales, northern parts of England too, and quite blustery for a time, particularly across Scotland. Across the south and southeast, staying dry with clearer skies and lighter winds, so it's likely we'll see some mist and fog by the morning, and it will be a slightly chillier start here too. Across Scotland to start the day into tomorrow, most of the rain will have cleared away, perhaps just leaving a remnants of cloud, and can't rule out the odd shower just skirting across the Northern Isles, and still rather blustery here too. Quite a murky start across Northern Ireland, grey skies and some quite low cloud, and fairly similar across northern parts of England and Wales too, perhaps even seeing some spots of rain and drizzle. Across the south and southeast, a brighter start once any mist and fog clears, but through the course of the morning we'll continue to see this band of cloud and rain sink its way southwards, so any brighter skies soon being replaced by cloud, but any rain largely petering away. Turning brighter across Scotland, Northern Ireland, seeing some sunny spells here, rather dry but still the odd shower just skirting the Northern Isles, and with lighter winds it should feel rather pleasant in the sunshine with highs of around 14 to 15 Celsius, but even where we see that cloud linger across the south, still rather mild for the time of year. Into tomorrow with clearer skies, likely more mist and fog to start the day, perhaps some patchy frost. But through the course of the day, as a ridge of high pressure builds, there's going to be plenty of sunny spells, particularly across central and southern parts. But we'll soon see a change once again into the northwest with more cloud and outbreaks of rain here. And it's likely the majority of us will see more rain as we head towards Friday, quite windy at times, and temperatures returning more towards average.
This spring, the Chancellor steps up to the dispatch box to make a statement. But what kind of statement will it be?
Taxes, spending, growth, benefits, cost of living. What's changing? And more importantly, how does it affect you?
Does she have the headroom to make headway?
Will it ease the squeeze or tighten the grip?
Will businesses boom or struggle to survive?
And does the spring statement have real impact, or is it just political posturing?
GB News brings you the analysis that matters. Just what it means for your money, your home, your future.
The Spring Statement 2025, Wednesday on GB News.
We're proud to be GB News, the People's Channel. And as you know, we always love to hear your views. Now, there's a new way of getting in touch with us at gbnews.com/yoursay. By commenting, you can be part of a live conversation and join our GB News community. You can even talk to me, Bev Turner, or any of the members of the GB News family.
Welcome back to Headliners. Final few front pages for you now. Let's start with the Times. Kerry.
We have a roaring, happy story about Rory the lion. They really went out their way coming up with a name for him. And he's recovering at a new rescue centre. He was basically rescued from Ukraine. He was scared by the bombs. And this is a lovely story because no one really asks how the lions are doing and all this, you know? It's always people, people, people.
I like
the first group left out in the
Well, I was going to say the MAGA people are going to somehow turn this around, that it's anti-Ukrainian.
Yeah, although the lions started it.
Yeah. Anyway, what about this
and
sound
the main
advice?
story is sound advice. So this is a psychologist who works at Yale University who has finally realised why some people are unlucky in love and in work, and it's all down to your microphone, apparently. So it's not about having a good fancy car. The microphone, and also he's realised that people don't know how bad their microphone is. Obviously, they wouldn't. So it's like having a bad smell and not having enough friends to tell you.
What do you think about this, Simon? we've spent a lot of time in lockdown using Zoom, having a bad mic, bad computer. Do you think that made an impact?
Yeah, well, I didn't do a podcast or anything, but I certainly did notice this effect when you were in large-scale Zoom meetings with people, yes. Some people seem to have a good deal more facility with the basic technology. I would say the most damaging thing you can do is to have your laptop open at desk level with your screen pushed away so that the camera is looking straight up your nose.
That's not the most damaging.
I would say the most damaging is
one or two particular examples. Yeah.
Taking it to the bathroom with them.
And then the other one is being backlit so that nobody can see you. You look like you're in a witness protection program. But a good microphone can certainly give you some sort of bit of baritone or basso profundo, which is very pleasing. Yes.
Well, certainly with your voice.
Yeah.
Daily Star, final newspaper here, Simon. A very cryptic headline. What else have they got, though?
Titch's wisteria hysteria is that is a mystery. That is a genuinely enigmatic story. Something to do with Alan Titchmarsh. Tiger Woods, I believe that is. So that balances out the lion, I suppose, on the previous front page. Tiger and Trump X. I'm not sure which one of his X's that is. Page 4, which we don't have. Then there's J-Lo and Othello. I'll show you that picture. I don't know whether you can see that. You can't really zoom in on it sufficiently, can you? But never mind. It's a picture of J-Lo, and she may or may not be going out with an actor who's playing Othello, I suppose.
Well, there we go. Right, Simon, the Telegraph has a new definition.
That's a waste of time.
That was really exciting stuff.
What's in
the Daily Star, as usual.
What's the new definition of what it means to be British, Simon? And
well, this is interesting because for many years, for decades, the number one sort of source of shame of British actors was always the quality of their teeth, and of course, Austin Powers mocked it relentlessly with his big buck teeth. Now it seems to be a status symbol. All the latest red carpet superstars, I will read some names here as though I'm familiar with them: Amy Lou Wood, Sabrina Carpenter, Ariana Grande, I know her, Cynthia Erivo, she's the one that they billed and cooed and petted one another in the Wicked presses.
There's the White Lotus actress.
Ayo Edibiri and Zendaya, I think I've heard of her, and Mihalia. Anyway, they've all got bad teeth, and that apparently is exactly what it takes now.
Yeah, we're going back to we've had ages of impossibly white teeth.
Very quickly, Kerry.
I was just going to say ages of turkey teeth are all going to go out as the return of rubbish teeth, balding heads, greying hair and white hair, and tubbiness. It's all coming back.
Bring it on, right?
Bring it on. I'm ready.
Let's see how these teeth are right. Show is nearly over. Let's take another quick look at tomorrow's front pages. The Telegraph. Threat to take reform donors OBE ignites free speech row. The Mail. Labour to block bid to ban solar panels made by slaves. The Daily Express. Mr. Trump, wake up. Ukrainians are the victims.
Kerry's
Independent. UK spends double the defence budget on working age benefits. Metro. Putin's brutal peace offering. The Star. Titch's wisteria hysteria. That's all we have time for. Thank you to my guest, Kerry Marks. It's his birthday in 8 minutes' time. There you go. Happy birthday, Kerry.
Thank you.
Simon Evans, thank you. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back. We're going to have some great comics. And if you're watching this at 5 p.m, stay tuned for breakfast.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. Heading into tomorrow, more cloud across central and southern parts with some spots of rain. Brighter in the north, though, with some warm, sunny spells. A different story tonight, though. Cloudier across the north with outbreaks of rain spilling in as a result of these frontal systems moving through this evening and overnight. Most of the rain largely light, but we could see some heavier spells across exposed coasts and northern areas. Eventually, this cloud and rain sinking southeastwards, moving into northern parts of Wales, northern parts of England too, and quite blustery for a time, particularly across Scotland. Across the south and southeast, staying dry with clearer skies and lighter winds, so it's likely we'll see some mist and fog by the morning, and it will be a slightly chillier start here too. Across Scotland to start the day into tomorrow, most of the rain will have cleared away, perhaps just leaving a remnants of cloud, and can't rule out the odd shower just skirting across the Northern Isles, and still rather blustery here too. Quite a murky start across Northern Ireland, grey skies and some quite low cloud, and fairly similar across northern parts of England and Wales too, perhaps even seeing some spots of rain and drizzle. Across the south and southeast, a brighter start once any mist and fog clears, but through the course of the morning we'll continue to see this band of cloud and rain sink its way southwards, so any brighter skies soon being replaced by cloud, but any rain largely petering away. Turning brighter across Scotland, Northern Ireland, seeing some sunny spells here. Rather dry, but still the odd shower just skirting the Northern Isles. And with lighter winds, it should feel rather pleasant in the sunshine, with highs of around 14 to 15 Celsius. But even where we see that cloud linger across the south, still rather mild for the time of year. Into tomorrow with clearer skies, likely more mist and fog to start the day, perhaps some patchy frost. But through the course of the day, as a ridge of high pressure builds, there's going to be plenty of sunny spells, particularly across central and southern parts. But we'll soon see a change once again into the northwest with more cloud and outbreaks of rain here. And it's likely the majority of us will see more rain as we head towards Friday, quite windy at times, and temperatures returning more towards average.
Expect a warm front, moving from the kitchen right through to the rest of the house. Boxed Boilers, sponsors of weather on GB News.
You could have £17,777 in tax-free cash to play with this spring. Cash to spend on anything you like. And if that wasn't enough, we're also going to give you not one, but two sought-after designer watches and the latest Mulberry handbag. How would winning that sound? For another chance to win the lot, text cash to 63232. One entry costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. Or text bonus to 63232. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start from just £2. Call 0903 681 3232. Calls cost £2 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB12 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 6 p.m. on the 4th of April. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good Afternoon Britain isn't just about us. The wonderful thing about this programme is it's about everyone watching. It's an interactive programme.
Well, there absolutely is something to see here, and we're going to be talking about it more. Whether it's breaking royal news, please bring us up to date, or indeed a particularly punchy speech in the House of Commons.
Very, very curious.
We bring it to you live, and then we bring you live reaction as well.
That's Good Afternoon Britain, weekdays from midday.
Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
The royal family is an enduring symbol of tradition, unity and pride for Britain. At GB News, we celebrate what makes this country great. In our new royal newsletter series, you can join me, Cameron Walker, for Inside the Palace, an exclusive look every week that takes you beyond the gates and brings you the very latest from those at the heart of the monarchy. Never miss a royal moment again. Sign up now. Go to gbnews.com/royal newsletter and get the latest straight to your inbox.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
no,
isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Join me, Camilla Tominey, for a frank and honest discussion with those in power that cuts through the spin and gets to the heart of the issues shaping our nation.
You haven't confirmed that you want to stand as leader, but you haven't ruled it out either.
This report basically says that he's not fit to stand trial. Is he indecisive? Incompetent?
I deliver the dose of reality Westminster needs.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show at 9:30 every Sunday on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Very, very good evening to you. It's Monday the 24th of March and welcome to GBN Tonight with me, Martin Daubney. Now, in this past half hour, the Conservative Party leader Kemi Badenoch has dramatically called for a full national statutory inquiry into rape gangs after sharing on X. GB News' exclusive interview with Charlie Peters sat down with a survivor of one of Oldham's depraved grooming gangs. And the victim, speaking out for the first time, revealed the horrific abuse that she suffered, sparking renewed calls for accountability and justice. I'll be joined by the man of the moments, GB News' national reporter, Charlie Peters, to discuss this latest dramatic development. And will the Labour Party back the UK's withdrawal from the ECHR. Seems like a bit of a tall tale, but Labour's own MPs are calling now on Keir Starmer to curb ECHR powers in UK courts. Now, this comes after a migrant criminal was protected from deportation after claiming his child, of course, would not eat foreign chicken nuggets. Plus outrage in Bolton as a former church is converted into a mosque and the adjacent green space is bulldozed for a car park, including cutting down a cherished Christmas tree. I'll be speaking to a local resident about this later on in the programme tonight. Now, all of this to come. It's going to be a stonking show, but first, here's your news headlines, and it's Aaron Armstrong.
Thanks, Martin. Good evening to you. Our top stories. The Conservatives will make a renewed effort to push the government into setting up a national investigation into grooming gangs. The leader of the opposition has confirmed she will table an amendment to the crime bill in an effort to force a national statutory inquiry to reveal the true extent of the systemic abuse and cover-ups, in her words. That's Kemi Badenoch. Of course, the Tory leader says it's been more than 2 months since Labour announced just 5 local rape gang inquiries, yet victims have still heard nothing. She claims a full inquiry is needed to reveal the true extent of the abuse. An earlier amendment by the Conservatives attached to the Children's Wellbeing and Schools Bill was defeated by a margin of 253 votes. The Prime Minister's vowed to take some money out of the government in this week's spring statement, as unions warn 50,000 jobs could be cut from the civil service. Rachel Reeves has confirmed departments will be asked to cut 15% from their budgets to save £2.2 billion a year by 2030. She claims only 10,000 back office jobs will be at risk. While unions say any cuts will hit frontline services after what they say are years of underfunding by previous Conservative governments. MP's salary is to rise by 2.8% to £94,000 a year, or just under that mark. The Independent Parliamentary Standards Authority says it's in line with wider pay recommendations for public sector workers. However, it comes just a year after MPs were given a 5.5% pay rise, and it comes shortly before they'll vote on proposed cuts to the welfare bill, which could see an estimated 1 million disabled people lose their benefits. Morrisons say hundreds of jobs are at risk as it continues to cut costs and restructure the business. The supermarket's planning to close 17 convenience stores and a range of on-site services, including cafes, pharmacies and deli counters. And Morrison says 365 jobs are at risk over the next 4 months, but they claim the majority of workers affected are expected to be moved into other roles. English councils will be ranked on how